welcome to Flooring Models Kit Review Time. Today we're bringing you the AFV Club. This is the 1/35th scale Matador, the AEC one. This is the mid-production truck, okay. Originally they were used as sort of artillery towing vehicles, things like that, but obviously as the war sort of progressed, they moved on to basically being used for everything, as you can imagine. It was designed beginning of World War II, very famous. The AEC company are the ones responsible behind double-decker buses in the UK. So quite a pedigree, as you can imagine. As you can see, you got your kit number there, AFV 35239. Some great pictures of what you can expect. Okay, and just running around the box as we do, as you see, the normal thing. Now, if you haven't done AFV kit before, things to know, basically generally very good fit, high quality, little known items are sort of their speciality. Yes, they do the bread and butter stuff, as you can imagine. It's mainly armoured AFV, armoured fighting vehicles. They also do aircraft as well, the kit company, but generally always of a very high quality. So generally in the box we get, let me just pop that down there a moment. As you can see, the box is absolutely rammed full of plastic, okay? So as you can imagine, normal thing, I'm going to dive in and get hold of the instructions. The other thing with AFV, I don't know if this is because of their bonus one, but I've had it in their other kits as well. You do get this, which is a beautiful print of the artwork from the box, as you can see. I had it on a few of their kits before. I've got it, I think it's on their F5s. To be honest, I've got their entire range of F5s and they've all got it as well. Very nice touch. One of those nice things you could have obviously framed up and print on the wall, which is very nicely done. Okay, so the Matador, there we go, gun tractor. Okay, this is the middle version. I think I said late version for some reason, sorry. This is actually the mid version of the kit. As you can imagine, their instructions, nice glossy sheet and everything else. Tend to be a bit plain inside, but you'll see in a moment what we mean by the sort of quality. General, got things for the colour, call out, the actual ones. So you've got different versions of and various things. You've got the Matador half track, quite an interesting thing, and the other range that they do down there. The instructions, as you can see, very complex, let's just put it that way. You are going to get a very detailed kit, and certainly from the point of view of the instructions, it pays to, you know, pay attention to the part numbers and things like that. It will make your life a lot easier, okay? So as you can imagine, here we are, we're going to be going through things that like the transmission system going right the way through. You've even got a little bit of steel cable going down here and everything else for your detail when you're working on the under chassis. As you can imagine, it's quite complex. You've got the relief springs going down there, all these tiny bits being added. So there's a lot going on in every step on this, okay? Fuel tank. And then finishing off, as you can imagine, it's in 8 parts, but it's a big old job to put it together. You have got, as I said before, a very detailed kit going together right the way through, putting it all in, as you can imagine. Then you're working on the bed itself, so you've got the underside of the bed. I don't know if these are photo etch or if they're just normal. I think they're just normal parts, actually, all the way through. Normally you do get a little bit of photo etch with these kits. Sides of the truck beds, building it up, again, as you can see, it's extremely complex the way it goes together. I'm going to give you a very nicely detailed model, okay? Right the way through, as you can imagine, you've got your stowage, your seats, various things going inside, finishing off, the roof going on. Again, as you can imagine, lots of little parts going in to detail it up. That's just the back end. Then you're into the cab itself. So working your way through, very detailed, as you can imagine, all the little parts going down there. You've got nice call outs in federal standard things and just saying like khaki drab, so quite nice. Okay, and then generally pushing through, as you can imagine, the cab going together, grills going on, things like that. I imagine they're going to be photo etch, I'm hoping they're going to be photo etch. Okay, and then on with the windscreens and the doors and all the bits and pieces, and then dropping it all down unglued onto the chassis. Okay, and then we should have, yeah, so we've got the colour call-outs, as you can see here on the back. So your normal sort of sail colour, the sandy version, as versus the more sort of European colours, as you can see. Okay, and you've got even the RAF one on the back as well. So Italy 1943, very nice with the roundel and everything else on there. So generally, as you've probably seen from the instructions, not a kit particularly aimed at the beginner. You might want to have a go at some other things before you move into the realm of AFV, but once your skills are basically, you know, you've got them down packed and you're quite comfortable with sort of complex designs and kits and things like that, then definitely something you should have a go at. Generally their plastic tends to be of is this one is quite a soft plastic, but the detail is usually very, very good. So generally, as you can see on the sprue, if we just drop this top camera down just a little bit more, get it all in here. So as you can see, generally all very nice, just out of touch, there we go. All going to be recessed details. Obviously it's plated roof on the top, so you're going to have a seam. You're supposed to, it's on one side then on the other, right the way through there. All the riveting detail are very sharp as well. We spoke about it on previous armor kits, some of the Meng stuff, where you feel it actually feels sharp, as it should be. This is very much of that same sort of ilk. So generally looking around at it, you've got no flash anywhere at all. Looking at the parts, you've got no real problems at all. Everything is very clean, everything's very nicely molded. You've got a nice texture for the wood effects and things like that down here in the models. You have got no, you haven't. You wouldn't even say you've got that. I was going to say some little marks in the plastic, but they're not. They're actually just the injection molding marks, which are flush, so you don't have to worry about that. But generally, as you might be able to see on some of the textures for the wood, stuff like that, and generally on these areas, very nicely done. All very clean, crisp, and everything else. And even this rooftop is going to be sort of bent in, I presume, right the way over there. It's nice the way that this all goes in. Don't take notice of these underneath. I assume they are not ejector pins. I don't know, they could be. They might be actually ejector pin marks down here, maybe trimmed off, but I think they'll be fine once you hook them off, or they could be a bit of an internal. Right, the bag 2, as you can see, the bags are all pretty well stuffed. Okay, so again, you've got things like you see down here, you've got the cab, some great textures, then bolts and everything. Obviously it's all bolted together, very nicely done. Things like down here, looks like a type of flywheel down here, very nicely done with the bolting down systems in there. And generally, just looking around it, the wood grain is fantastic on all of these parts. Really, really nice. Actually do like this a lot. Fuel tank itself, 2 halves go in, tiny little bit of flash, but nothing that's on the parts, which is really, really nice. And generally, as you can see, very well thought out, even on these larger parts like these sides for this rear panel. As you look down on it, as you can see, there's no ejector pin marks on the part itself. They're all on their own little pins off to the side to get that part out and everything else like that. So really nice. But the ribbing effect down here on this wood, you know, the way it goes in and everything else, very, very nice indeed. Very good. So in this bag here, we've got the chassis. So we can have a little look down that. As we're looking at it, as you can see like this, you know, the chassis parts, again, we haven't got any ejector pins. You've got some little ones just down here on the inside, but you're not going to see that. It's a shame there's quite a few on there. You would have thought they'd done it like the bed, but I suppose from their point of view, they're thinking you're not going to see it, so I won't worry about it. Okay, some of the more the bed parts going across, which are going to go underside here. These are these bars that are going to be here, but generally just looking at the wood grain on the deck for the floor, things like that, is very nice indeed. Really do enjoy the detail that's on there. It's actually really, really nice all the way through. Okay, then we've got the get in the bag, buy a new blade. Okay, so we've got down here one of the smaller ones, but this one's got all the relief springs and some of the smaller parts, so it'd be interesting to see the level of detail. As you can see, we've got the axles and everything else very nicely molded. You've got texture on the mold as well, looks like they're cast, which is a nice touch. Little thing, how the relief springs, might be able to catch it more on the close-up. You can see they're cantilevered, which is a very nice touch, but generally, as you can see, very good. You've got very sharp details between all of the relief springs on there. There's multiple layers of them, but generally, as you're looking around at it, I can't find any faults with this kit at all. Some really nice detailed stuff going on in here, right the way through to the sump for the engine one, I presume. Very nice with the bolts on there and all those areas coming off. So generally very nice, no problem. There's no real burring either, which is the sandwich bit you get sometimes with where it's injected between the top halves and the bottom halves of the molds. So these parts down here, I know you probably won't be able to see it because there's nothing to see really. The burring is absolutely minimal. Just a couple of swipes with a sanding stick will take care of that completely. So we have got 2 fronts for the cab. Didn't we just see one? Got its different versions. of the cab part itself. So it looks like we've got another one just down in here, as you can see, for the front of the cab. The roof of the cab, I think that's going to be the rear, things like that. So perhaps we've got older versions as well as newer ones. Okay, we've got a matched pair of screws just here. So I'll just take one out. Okay, so down here you can see the wheels, and this is what we were saying about the detail on these with the nuts and the areas around here. Extremely well done. You've even got a little bit of thread showing through on those, so that's absolutely fantastic. Okay, and all these different prop shafts, things like that down here, and the hubs and all the wheel parts, things like that for the steering. Beautifully done, no problem with any of those at all. Extremely crisp, extremely sharply moulded. And that's what we're saying about AFV. It does tend to be like this. This isn't just like one of their kits, so it's a bit better. They all tend to be like this. So if you're thinking about AFV, never looked at them before and you're wondering, you're going to get a high quality, very nice kit. Okay, so yeah, so match pair again on sprue F. So as you can see, we've got some various parts going down here, some very, very small parts, as you might be able to see on these here. Really, really nice, all of those going right the way through. All of the smaller details brilliantly cast and done all the way through, right the way down to all of these little handles. You know, these little tiny guys running all along here. All absolutely perfect, pin sharp, very, very nice. Okay, we have the crew figure. We will have a look in this bag. I wasn't going to, but I think we will now. So I can see a crewman in there as well. Okay, so first of all we've got here, I presume this is part of the cab roof perhaps, or something else like that on sprue A. Again, perfectly fit. A couple of eject pin marks on the inside, but they'll be easily taken care of. Little tiny, very ones. It looks like they've been sanded out. You might be able to see you've got the polish marks in here. Looks like they've been pre-polished. They're not totally out, they're still there, but they're a lot better. Okay, and we've got this guy. So down here you've got a couple of jerry cans stuck together. We've got a crew figure with, I presume, posable arms and legs, but as you can see, we've got a very nice, very well cast figure. No real sign of flash and anything else, very sharp. And even, you might be able to see, I don't want to get it all out of the bag, but even the arms have got pins, and you've got holes in the arms as well for them to self-pin in, which is a very good touch. Unfortunately, the arm on this one, I think the pins come off. Okay, which is something I did think might happen. Alright, but no, very nice, very good. That's actually fantastic. Lovely little bit of detail there. Okay, last major sprue off the bottom. We have, okay, big old sprue this one, as you can see. Some more of the plating system. You've got some of the tools on here, some of the smaller parts you might be able to see. So we've got various things. You've got axes, axe heads, right the way through, running through some of the stowage items, more of the running gear, some more of the smaller little parts, towing eyes, things like that, all over this one. Some more relief springs here. Generally no problem. A little bit of flash on the sprue, but none on the parts, and that's the bit that counts. Alright, and again, no burring particularly to these sprues either, so that's really, really nice. Okay, generally really, really good. Okay, so we got the wheels. Looks like these are double bagged. So that's handy. We can get the spare out and have a look. So you have got quite a large seam line, obviously where the rubber's been moulded, putting this down, but that'd be really easy to get rid of on here. You're going to have, I think, this is why I don't like these particularly, you've got the actual injection part in the middle here where it comes in there. You're going to cut this away, but I think it's going to take away a small section. It's not so bad when you're saying this is the inner part, but if you get them around the wrong way, you might have a bit of problem. Famously, these have got Dunlop written on the tyres, which means somebody's got away with it. Usually they have a slightly different name to get around marketing and copyright issues and things like that. But generally, yeah, very nice, very organic tyres. But don't forget, these were the early days, the pioneering days. So again, down here, we were right, you do get the little grills, which is a beautiful little touch. We've got a little bit of thread here you can use for towing eyes, all those little parts, tiny little details down in there. And we've got those decals, which we won't bother getting that one out of the pack. Clear parts, won't bother with these because these are flat, so we know they're going to be perfect. They'll be absolutely fine. Again, Okay, this one is very cleverly, they've moulded it all together. So again, clear parts, it's a mirror, I think, of the other one. And then we got another sprue here, which is sprue B. So you've got the steering wheel, and you've got the seats, the mechanical handles inside for driving it, things like that, the instrument panel, and all those other good items. So there we go, that is it. That is your AFV AEC, gets a bit confusing, Matador. It says mid-production on that one. So yes, this is obviously the mid. They've also got an early and a late version, everything else like that. Again, as we said, no problems with the kit, beautiful kit and everything else like that. Just take your time with it, follow your instructions and everything, and you should be fine. So that is a beautiful kit. So there we go, that is the AEC Matador mid-production.